What's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back to another installment of your monthly market update for the real estate market in Hamilton and Niagara, in both those regions. Now, I couldn't pass up the chance to film this at the newly done park and waterfront area just off of Casablanca in Grimsby. It's really nice down here, and so I just thought I would kind of take a perch right here and kind of give you some good information on what's been going on in the real estate market over the last month. So without further ado, let's take advantage of the nice weather that we're having in September and talk a little bit about the market. So there are really two things that have gone on that tell the bigger picture about what's going on in the real estate market right now. And one is the interest rate that the Bank of Canada has just reduced at the beginning of the month by 0.25%. Now, this is their third reduction in interest rates in 3 months. And we're expecting that trend to continue. There's going to be more rate cuts in the future. They need to let off the interest rates in order to get a cap on, or at least a handle on, affordability right now, especially when it comes to the housing market. And the Bank of Canada feels comfortable reducing rates right now because inflation is actually coming down. But if inflation is down and the economy is still sluggish and the housing market is still sluggish, they need to do more in order to incentivize people to get out there and kind of spend cash, stimulate the economy, stimulate the housing market, and get things going again. Which kind of brings me to my second point, something that I just touched on, which is the housing market is currently sluggish. There's just not a lot happening. Prices are remaining very sticky. We're actually seeing declines in prices, not by much, by about 1%, 0.5% in Hamilton and Niagara. But again, that's a trend that we've been seeing for the last few months as well. So it's been another month of interest rate drops and another month of house prices slowly coming down again. And to dive in just a little bit deeper on that, the Niagara region is seeing overall about a 1% drop in prices, and the Hamilton region, which didn't do so hot last month, is now seeing only a 0.5% drop. So it's showing some improvement. Now, typically something that we see for this time of year is an active fall market, and I believe that that's going to be the case this year as well. I think that you're going to see more activity happening in the next few months, and I think that you're going to see prices start to creep upwards before we get into the holidays, and then the market becomes slow once again. Just the natural flows, the ebbs and flows of a real estate market in a year. So that's just a general picture of what's happening in the Niagara region and the Hamilton region. And what I want to do is I just want to take a quick couple minutes just to kind of zoom in a little bit further on some areas in those regions that I see are bucking the trends. Like, are they doing a little bit better than the overall region, or a little bit worse off than the overall region? So we're going to dive into that. So there's a category that's really kind of taking a big hit right now, and that is apartments in the Niagara region and in the Hamilton region as well. And one of the reasons for this is because apartments are kind of seen as that first level of affordability when it comes to the housing market. And if there aren't enough people like first-time home buyers or investors or even downsizers who are looking to make purchases of those apartments and condos, that indicates to me that there isn't enough incentive right now in terms of where the market is, where interest rates are, to kind of inspire them to make those purchases. And so what we're seeing is that apartments both in the Niagara region and the Hamilton region are taking a bigger hit than what we're seeing for house prices overall in both regions. And while I've talked in length before in other videos about the apartments and condos in Grimsby specifically, now we're seeing that there's the overall trend, and in different areas in Niagara and Hamilton, they're all kind of catching up. They're really starting to become very sluggish. Those entry-level apartments and units are just not being sold at the rate that they once were. And again, I think it's that entry-level kind of price point that is attractive to people who are looking to get into the market for investment first time or downsizing. And that's kind of the canary in the coal mine, an indicator that the market is sluggish overall. And again, just those interest rates aren't attractive enough for people to kind of jump in and say, this is worth my money, this is worth my time. And the other area that I want to bring light to is actually detached homes on the Hamilton Mountain. This is an area specifically that has done worse off than what we're seeing overall in the Hamilton area. And realistically, how this ties into things is that if you own a home on the Hamilton Mountain, typically that your house is going to be valued less than, or at a lower rate than what it would normally have been, let's say, a month ago. And this ties in very well to the overall advice that I have for people who are looking to buy a home and people who are looking to potentially sell a home. So I've been saying this for the last few months, and it's remained unchanged, that if you are looking to sell your home, I would try to wait as long as possible if you can. next year, 2025, and the year after, 2026, are looking more promising when it comes to home value. And I think you'd be able to sell at a higher price if you were able to wait. It also gives you a good opportunity to put more work into the house, to clean things up, to make the touch-ups, do the renovations that you were maybe considering, and then ultimately just really getting the most value that you can if you're looking to sell in the next couple of years. Now, if you do have to sell, let's say by the end of the year or early 2025, then what you want to be doing is focusing on those little wins, like new light fixtures, maybe some new paint, landscaping in the front, those kind of quick fixes that are going to make a really great first impression for a prospective buyer as they are approaching your property or kind of walking through for the first time. And then for buyers, my advice is actually the inverse, which is this is an excellent time to buy. Interest rates are continuing to come down. There's lots of inventory on the market to choose from, and people are willing to take offers that maybe they wouldn't have looked at in the past. So if there's a house that's been on the market for a while, there's definitely room for negotiation in price, and maybe they'd be looking at or open to looking at offers that include a home inspection, financing, a sale of property, things like that. So there's lots of things that work in the favor of buyers right now, and it's generally an excellent time, especially when you look at prices. I genuinely believe that this is going to be a low point as we move forward into the future. So this is kind of a great window of opportunity for you. And that's basically it, short and sweet. The big themes of what we're seeing right now are, again, another month of lower interest rates by the Bank of Canada, but another month of lower prices across the Niagara region and the Hamilton region. It's not such a great time to sell right now, but it's an excellent time to buy, especially if you're looking at getting into an apartment in either region, especially in Grimsby, or you're looking for a detached home on the Hamilton Mountain. And that's it for September's edition of my monthly market update. I hope everybody's enjoying this amazing weather that we're having. Get out. I think we're going to have it for another few weeks here. And I will see you next month for more information, more tips, and more insights in October.